There's never a dull moment in the laptop space, and now things are more exciting than ever thanks to the new laptop launches from two of the most competitive brands here in India. Yes, I'm talking about the Xiaomi and Realme. Well, I have the Mi NoteBook Ultra and the Realme Book Slim with me today, and we're going to be taking a detailed look at their display to find out which one is better. Hey guys, this is Karthik here for Digit, and there's a lot to talk about these displays here. But before we do that, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and also press the bell icon so that you don't miss out on any of these awesome videos. Now that's out of the way, let's get started. So let's get the display specifications out of the way first, shall we? So the Mi NoteBook Ultra comes with what Xiaomi calls a Mi True Life display. It's a 15.6-inch 3.2K display with a 16:10 aspect ratio, which means it has a resolution of 3200 by 2000. Another interesting thing to note here is that it supports up to 90Hz refresh rate, making it quite good for gaming as well. Moving on to the Realme Book Slim, and this is no weakling either because we are looking at a 14-inch 2K panel with a very interesting aspect ratio of 3:2. This means it has a resolution of 2160 by 1440. No crazy refresh rate support here, so it's just 60Hz. Both are IPS panels with 100% sRGB color space according to the company. Looking at the specifications, I think the Mi NoteBook Ultra's display kind of looks more promising to me. It is both bigger and supports a higher resolution with a better PPI value. But exactly how good it really is and what's the main difference between the two in terms of the user experience? To answer that question, let me quickly take you through our display testing process. Before we begin our testing process, I want to talk about something that actually matters to me. How easy it is to open these laptops. Trust me, this is very important. I know a lot of you people care about this, so let's just check it out real quick. So the Mi NoteBook Ultra easily lets you open it with one finger, but the Realme Book Slim not so easily. This obviously isn't a deal breaker, but it speaks volumes about the laptop's weight distribution. And frankly speaking, it's a small quality of life feature that I'd like my laptop to have. Anyway, let's move on to the more technical part of this video. I used Calman Ultimate paired with their C6 HDR 2000 color meter to get a detailed analysis of both displays. Starting off with the brightness, I was able to record a peak luminance of 318 nits on the Mi NoteBook Ultra versus a peak luminance of 390 nits on the Realme Book. In real world usage, this makes the Realme Book look more vibrant when you compare them side by side. But one disadvantage of the Realme Book that I want to mention here is that it comes with a glossy panel, which makes it super reflective and kind of hard to see outdoors or under direct light at times despite having a higher brightness count. But at the same time, the Mi NoteBook Ultra's matte finish makes it look ever so slightly dull and hazy, and the colors don't pop as much. It's just something to keep in mind. Moving on, I want to talk a little bit about the RGB balance. Both the Mi NoteBook Ultra and the Realme Book have a heavy blue bias, as you can see here in this graph. We are looking at an average color-corrected temperature of 7597 and 7770 for the Mi NoteBook Ultra and the Realme Book respectively, both of which are higher than the D65 value. So what does all that mean exactly? Well, the color temperature of these displays is on the cooler side, so you can expect to see a blue tint regardless of the kind of content that you're trying to consume. The Realme Book has a contrast ratio of 1500:1, which is more in line with what the company claims. The Mi NoteBook Ultra has a contrast ratio of 1700:1. Both of these are IPS panels, so we are not looking at any crazy contrast ratio like you would see in, say, an OLED panel, but they're not bad. This just means that these displays are not going to have insanely deep blacks, for example. Although our testing tells me that the black levels will be ever so slightly better on the Mi NoteBook Ultra's panel, coming in at 0.908 nits versus the 1.087 nits on the Realme Book. According to Calman's color checker analysis, the average delta E value for the sRGB color space on the Mi NoteBook Ultra is 3.9, with the maximum delta E value being 7.9. In Realme Book's case, I recorded an average delta E value of 4.9 and a max delta E value of 10.5. These numbers honestly aren't that impressive considering the fact that both Xiaomi and Realme actually claim to have a higher color accuracy, especially in the sRGB color space. So that's kind of disappointing. Speaking of color spaces, Calman color volume analysis tells me that the Mi NoteBook Ultra covers 97.2% of sRGB color space and 74.2% of DCI-P3 space. The Realme Book, on the other hand, covers 98.2% of the sRGB and 73.5% of the DCI-P3 space. Yes, that's a lot of numbers, but what do they even mean? Well, it means that even though the laptops cover a wide variety of gamuts, they're not calibrated to have good color accuracy. Luckily, the average delta E values aren't insanely high like we've seen in some cases. You won't have any issues using these panels for day-to-day workloads or media consumption like watching videos on Netflix or YouTube. But you might want to look somewhere else or invest in an external monitor, especially if you're trying to do some color-sensitive work. I say that because even a manual color calibration couldn't entirely fix the issues in either of these laptops. Now let's talk about the aspect ratios. The aspect ratio basically determines the shape of your display, right? It tells you how wide or how tall the display really is. The Mi NoteBook Ultra has a 16:10 aspect ratio, whereas the Realme Book has a 3:2 aspect ratio. So which one is better? 3:2 aspect ratio panels are quite rare and they offer more vertical screen real estate. This will be beneficial for those who are buying a laptop for work. Writing documents, coding and reading web pages etc. is going to feel great on this panel compared to say a normal 16:9 panel. What are the downsides? Well, media consumption like watching movies, TV shows or just normal videos on YouTube are going to look weird with those huge black bars that are usually not seen on most content for the 16:9 panel. And this is where I think the Mi NoteBook Ultra's 16:10 aspect ratio offers a sweet spot. It's slightly taller than the normal 16:9 but not so much that the display looks more squarish. So I personally think it's good for both media consumptions with less of those black bars, and it's also great for usual reading and coding work. That being said, I think all this comes down to your personal preference, so think about what's best for your use case and then make a decision. Well, it's time to wrap up and give you my final verdict. So the short answer to that is actually both the displays are quite phenomenal. But if I have to pick a winner, especially based on the testing that I did, then I would say the Mi NoteBook Ultra's displays actually has a slight edge over its competitive peers. It has a slightly better contrast ratio and better color accuracy with the colors looking closer to the benchmark values. But based on my real world usage, I think the Realme Book's panel looks incredible too. It's brighter than the Mi NoteBook Ultra and the colors don't look as dull due to the matte finish on the Mi NoteBook. Yes, the color accuracy numbers on both the laptops are slightly off, but you just cannot ignore the fact that both of these laptops are priced around rupees 60,000, especially the Realme Book starts at 45,000 rupees. That's just insane. That's nowhere close to the ultra premium notebooks in the market that usually have such high quality panels. Both of these laptops, in my honest opinion, offer the best display right now in this price range. Just pick the one based on your preference of the size and aspect ratio. Well, that's gonna do it for me in this video. I hope you enjoyed this one. I will see you guys very soon with another laptop review. Until then, stay safe and thanks for watching.